Hello, everybody. Let me know when you're on. Make sure to say hello. Welcome to Project Workshop with Teresa Rene Art. I'm Teresa. This is the series that is now going to be replacing Pentart 101. We are complete with our Pentart 101 series, but we'll use this time instead to combine everything that we learned into workable projects. We are going to be focusing on ornaments for the first probably 3 or 4 sessions, maybe even longer. Try to get us through the holidays and do some ornaments and whatnot. I hope you guys are doing well. Make sure to say hello. Let me know you're here. Love to connect with you guys. So hello, Rima. I have a couple of Facebook users. It's been a while since I've had that, but if you're watching from Facebook, you have to give Facebook permission for me to see your name, and you would do that by doing streamyard.com/Facebook. I have a lot of Facebook users this morning, you guys, so I'm not sure if something changed with the StreamYard settings, but I apologize if I'm not addressing you by name. I can only see a handful of names coming through. So sorry about that. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today we're going to be doing a concave ornament. Hello, Denise. And last year we got these baubles in that were concave, meaning they have this indentation in the middle, which is perfect for decoupage, like to do a surface. So yeah, so there was a Windows update apparently yesterday. So a lot of you are coming through as Facebook user. And so what you have to do is go to streamyard.com/Facebook and give me permission to see your name. I just put it in the comments. Yeah, it says if you're using StreamYard, yep. So yeah, people have to give permission again. The person who just said that, Facebook user, if you are using StreamYard, they updated and people may need to give permission again. So that's the link, you guys, to do that. So anyway, hope y'all are doing fantastic, having a great weekend so far, and ready to begin our holiday crafting series. So yeah, so I was talking about this concave ornament, and what happened with my order last year is a lot of them arrived damaged. So I wasn't sure I was going to get them again, but I took a chance and I got them again, and they weren't like damaged beyond repair, but it was more than I was comfortable with. So what happened on some of them was some of these little pieces around the sides just sort of tore a little bit. Now with our techniques and decoupage, it doesn't really matter because we're going to cover all that stuff up anyway. But I did get another shipment of these. So retailers, if you were looking for these, I do have some in stock, and I have them in 8 centimeters, 10 centimeters, and 12. So I added a smaller size. This is the 10 centimeter version, and we are going to be using this. I did a fair amount of prep work on this. So I took the LeBlanc garland mold and I wrapped it around with clay. And then I took, I've got just a little rope mold, and I've gone around twice the perimeter of that with clay, just because I wanted to be able to at least get most of the way finished with this today. So I did some prep work, but that's literally all I did. Okay, so I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry that I'm not able to address people by names this morning. Hello, everybody. I do see you. If you're coming in and saying hello, I do see you, but I can't see your name associated with the comments. So I'm sorry. I can only see. I see Jill. Hello, Jill. It says it's Jill, and it won't let me, but it does say Facebook user. I'm only seeing a handful of names coming through, you guys. So I'm going to turn my camera down, and we will go ahead and get started. Let's do this. This is going to be super fun. If we have time, which I don't think we will, but I've also started a couple of other resin ornaments as well. So we might play around with that if we have time, or at least do some prep work for those. But for now, we're going to focus on this. This is my concave ornament. I took off the top, and the reason I did that is because sometimes you can hook like a pencil or something in there and work around like that. So I did take off the top. Again, this is the 10 centimeter. Someone says they tried the link and it didn't work. Let's see. Click on the link. Let's see. I'm not sure. I don't know if there's some other link that you have to click on to give Facebook permission or StreamYard permission to show me your Facebook name. I'm just not sure. So we're going to move on. Let me grab some. I'm just going to get a little bit of water here. I'm going to clean my surface off because I got some clay. Hello. The picture should focus back. Is it out of focus or is it focused, you guys? Sometimes the connection on the receiving end, you may have to go out and come back in. So I'm just kind of cleaning it. StreamYard doesn't let me accept the permissions. That's so strange. I'm not sure what the problems are, you guys. So see if we'll go throughout the week, and if y'all continue to have problems, I'll do. I just wasn't prepared to tell y'all what to do, I didn't realize we were going to be having the issue with this StreamYard. So, but I can see all the comments. I just can't see the names associated with it. The rules on this one, so we're going to be a lot more relaxed in this series, you guys. We're not going to have all the same rules about saving questions until the end, because this is going to be more free-flowing, and it's less about demonstrating the particulars or the rules of the product and more just about combining them. So this is going to be a more relaxed series and a more interactive series as well, because I am going to rely a fair amount on your suggestions and feedback based on all the things that we have learned. Hello, Cindy Crane. Okay, so what I'm going to do first, this is from the new Dainty and the Queen line, and this is one of her carousel papers. And so I have cut that out already and sort of trimmed it so that that's going to fit down in there. So we are going to get that decoupage. So you guys, when we're working around a curved surface, and it doesn't matter if the surface is going inward like concave or if it's going outward like a ball, what we do is we tear a little bit around the sides of the paper to create almost like darts, if you will, that will seat down into the around the curvature of the surface. So it's kind of like the same concept of the darts on a dress, help to conform a flat surface into a three-dimensional one. So I've already done that, and I've already trimmed it to the size that I need all the way around. So we will go ahead and we will get this decoupage on here. Let's see, we'll get that decoupage on there. And let's begin. So I'm going to be using decoupage varnish and glue matte. Hello, Kelly. I see you. Kelly, I can see your comment. The person who just says, Teresa, are you able to see your comment? I did see, I see your comment, but I can't see your name. I see Kelly. Kelly, looks like your name is associated with StreamYard, so I can see your comment. Good morning. Any questions about the clay that I did? I just used Jovi clay and I attached it with heavy body gel. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to cover that surface with my decoupage varnish and glue. And I'm going to try to get this lined up so that it's perfectly straightened in the middle where I want it. So I want to get that down in there. So I'm not worried that it's not going to go all the way to the edge. I'm not really worried about that because I'll take a little bit of paint and I'll come and I will camouflage those with either paint or like antiquing gel or something. So I think that looks pretty straight up and down. I think we're good. Good morning, everybody. Nice crowd today for a Saturday morning. This is the only time slot that I can go live during the week right now with my kids' schedule. So I appreciate you guys being here and creating with me this morning. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to push all that down in there. You guys, so if I have retailers on who have this paper, the baubles, any of the decoupage glue or Pentart products in stock, please feel free, retailers, to share your links so that our lovely viewers know how to find you. We do have a lot. They're located all over the USA. We do have some retailers also in Canada and some other countries as well, although our primary locations is the USA. So that looks pretty good, you guys. I'm pretty happy with that. What I was going to do, I'm thinking about making this two-toned. So what I was thinking is I'm going to use this paper around the bottom, and I'm going to decoupage this all the way around the bottom. And then I'm actually just going to do a plain color up top, and I'm thinking just cream white up top, and then maybe do some fine line crackle. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to do the decoupage here, and I'm going to do this all the way around the bottom, and I'm going to kind of do it in a collage format, you guys, because we all know it's going to be hard to just get a single piece all the way around. So I'm going to try to like mishmash and collage it. Thank you, Rima, for sharing your link. Clarkston. Clarkston what? Clarkston where? Is that Tennessee? Where is Clarkston? And then maybe if somebody is on, they can share. Most of our retailers ship. But I know it's nice because more and more of them are carrying them inside booths or stores. So it's nice to be able to go and like shop in person. I'm trying to think who we have. Clarkston, Georgia. Where is Clarkston, Georgia? I'm not even sure where that's at. I know we have a dealer in Marietta at Queen of Hearts who carries a lot of Pentart. Clarkston, Michigan. Oh, sorry, I don't know Michigan. If you're from Michigan, you're one of our retailers, feel free to connect with the person looking for Clarkston. But you can also go to the royalcourtarts.com/retailers, and you can find the retailer closest to you. And most of the time, if you have someone that you like working with and you need something, most of the time they will do their best to get it in for you or connect you with somebody who has what you need. So we have a pretty tight-knit community of retailers that are pretty supportive of each other. So I throw that out there too, just in case. Don't feel like, oh, this person doesn't have what I want, so therefore I can't get it. Please don't feel that way. We can always make connections. All right, so I'm just going to kind of do like, I'm going to do like a tearing sort of collage thing, because again, this is a curved surface and it is a little awkward. So I'm going to put these on sort of a section at a time and go around and make sure I'm going around the bottom here. And then I'm just going to kind of patch it in as we go. And because this is a pattern with a fairly, you know, the color scheme, it doesn't have to lay exactly perfect, and it will still look pretty seamless because the color scheme all sort of coordinates. So even if I can't line it up exactly, it's still going to look nice, you guys. So I just wanted to show you, you know, like you don't have to fret necessarily about whether or not it's going to go all the way to the edge, etc., etc. I think I did it like this. Yeah, I did it like this. Okay. And then like anything that doesn't get where we need it to, we can always sort of fill in with a little paint to blend things together. Okay. So this is like a tearing sort of collage technique, you guys. If you haven't seen me do this before, I do this a lot with like, I did this at Easter with a bunny, like a 3D bunny. I have done this around like ceramic pitchers, and you just sort of tear them into pieces, because you're not going to be able to wrap a full piece of decoupage paper around the surface of this ball. You're going to have to work in sections. So we still tear into it just like I did on the concave part. And I'm just trying to kind of flatten out any surface wrinkles that show up. And I'm going to have wrinkles. It's inevitable because paper is one-dimensional and this is a three-dimensional surface. But with a little bit of care at the end, the wrinkles will sort of be minimal. Describe it. Yes, I need to talk to someone about a product. Describe it to find it. So we do have plenty of retailers on who I'm sure will be more than happy to assist you. So I am going to try to also continue sort of where I left off. Okay. And again, you know, sort of try to line it up the best I can, but I'm not trying to be super exact here. And it's tearing, and it's this soft edge of the paper that allows you to tear into it and blend it out. Facebook user. Yeah, everyone's coming up Facebook user. So I'm sorry I'm not able to address people by names. All right. So, but I'm plowing forward anyway because we are live and I have a demo to do. And this morning we're going to just pretend that I know who everyone is. And trust me that if I knew who you were, if I could see your names, I would be calling you by name. But we're just working the hand that we're dealt this morning, you guys. Sometimes you just got to roll with it. That is the joy of technology. All right. So Got a couple little spots. So see how seamlessly that sort of starts to come together there as the two papers merge. This one could be probably torn a little bit here. And then this one's going to just lay right over the top. And I'm trying not to touch that other image there at the bottom. And then we've got one more section here, and then we'll fill in these little gaps around the bottom as well. Okay, so let's do, I got this one, and I'm just going to kind of use my finger to outline. This is very scientific, just to outline where I need to tear this. Yeah, and there was a message that popped up when I went live, but I sort of ignored it. So I'll give overlap. It doesn't, I'm overlapping sort of, but I'm really just trying to kind of line it up as best as I can. If I wouldn't leave a space though, I'm trying to sort of overlap. I don't want to leave a space because I want to do as minimal blending with my paint as I can. I don't want to do a whole lot of blending. And I may not even have to do any. So I'm trying to get it on there. I am going to use a little bit of antique paste. We're going to fine line crackle the whole thing. I'm going to use a little bit of antique paste around here and there. So sometimes the problem is knowing which piece. It's like a little puzzle, right? So it's knowing which piece goes where, or if it even matters that you get the particular piece there or not. And some patterns, I literally just don't even worry about the continuity. I just throw it on there and hope for the best. There are plenty of projects like that as well. Okay, so this one. And then I just have one little spot here to patch. And I think I'll just use these little berries. And then we will call it done. So again, I'm not being super nitpicky about what goes where necessarily. I just don't want it to look completely out of place. Like there's berries here, so the berries are sort of a natural fit. Okay. So it's going to look pretty seamless by the time I fine line crackle and get a little bit of antique paste on there. All right, so that looks, I would say that looks pretty good. Up here, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use a little bit of primer paste first before I paint it, because this is a pretty slick surface. Waking up and hoping for the best. Exactly. All right. So I am going to paint this one, this top part. I'm going to paint that with this Decor Paint Chalky and Off-White. But first, I'm going to lay down some primer paste gesso. And the reason that I'm using this instead of bonding primer today is because I basically just want to dry it and then paint it immediately. With bonding primer, you have to put it on and then let it set for about 24 hours. Primer paste is really just a gesso that has a little bit of tooth to it. It's not going to go on as smooth as bonding primer, so it's not going to give you that beautiful smooth surface. It's gonna have a little bit, just a slight bit more texture to it when you put it on. But in this particular case, it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to pick it up so I don't end up touching anything. And now I'm just going to take my primer paste and I'm going to just sort of paint it on, because I'm going to paint this with Decor Paint Chalky, but this is literally just plastic right here. Normally, I would have primed the whole thing before I began doing anything with it, but I just sort of when I started last night, I just started gluing things down, and I didn't fully plan ahead. I just sort of started gluing. So normally I would have done some sort of primer or base coat on here before I even started doing anything. Okay. So that should always be your first step when you're working with these little plastic type or glass or ornaments of this nature. Go ahead. In fact, if you know you're going to do a series of ornaments, just go ahead and lay them out and prime them all ahead of time. And while I have it here, I'll just go ahead and lay a little bit over my clay as well. Figure why not while I'm here. And that'll help me when I get to painting. That will help me to be able to paint it a little bit easier. And then I'm going to dry. All right, so let's dry. Oop, I gotta go grab my I gotta go grab my hair dryer. Hold on, I gotta take this with me. All right, and because this is plastic, I'm not going to use full blast heat. I'm going to go about medium, and I'm going to hold it a pretty good distance away. Otherwise, I risk melting my plastic. historically, I haven't done a lot of ornaments because they're hard for me because I don't have a whole lot of like my fine motor skills for handling clumsy objects. I'm just not that coordinated. So ornaments are very challenging for me. So I usually wouldn't do anything much smaller than this. This is about the smallest size I could handle. All right, let's feel that. Let's see. We're pretty dry. We're getting there anyway. This is pretty dry. All right. All right, so I think I can safely paint the top, and then we'll do a little bit of touch up. It's not really Rima, it's just that StreamYard has a noise canceling. So it's actually quite noisy. This is the same one I was using in Atlanta, or that Vasilis is using in Atlanta. Actually, it's a replacement because if you'll remember, our power situation killed a lot of dryers in Atlanta. Okay, so now I'm going to take a little tiny bit of paint and I'm going to begin to do a little bit of touch up. So I'm just going to take, if you'll see here along these edges, I'll be right back. I got to go get my glasses so I can see. All right. Yeah. Our situation was not great. All right. So I'm just taking a little bit of paint to blend where I've got where that paper sort of ends, just to kind of marry those edges together. And I just used a little bit of cream white mixed with a tiny bit of olive. We're just blending out these little edges here. Okay. And all right, and then along in here, we'll sort of do the same thing in some sections here, but I'm going to be using cream white mixed with this color. It says patina green. I don't know if this is patina green or not. It doesn't look like patina green. And so we'll sort of take that, and it's got a little bit of a greenish tint to it, but need a little bit of white. We're just doing a little tiny bit of blending here. Just along some of these, just to fill in some of these little gaps, you guys. So I'm not doing overkill or anything. I just have a few areas where the paper didn't fully come together. Or I just need to camouflage some seams. So nothing too crazy. Maybe in here. Okay. So not a whole lot to do there. Let's see, I got a little bit of green here, right at this little seam. So kind of marrying the two colors together. So you sort of want it to look like, you do kind of want it to sort of look like at the end, you just took one solid piece of decoupage paper and wrapped it around the ball. Sometimes easier said than done. But you can accomplish that with just a little bit of paint to join some of your sections together. Okay, I got one little piece here that, so I'm just creating an edge of a leaf where one didn't exist before, etc. I'm going to get a little bit of red and touch up this little berry in here. Do I know of a silicone caulk? I don't know of a silicone caulk. I do not, I have not seen a silicone caulk from Pentart in a tube. Okay. Okay, and then I lost some berry here. So we'll try to recreate that berry. Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied with that. And now we will, let me dry it one more time. I would think that you could use hot glue. I don't know if you tried that, but it seems like you could use hot glue. Okay, now I'm just going to take some cream white and I'm going to go ahead and apply that. I want to paint the top of this cream off white. We are going to fine line crackle the top as well. So this will look really beautifully aged. And of course my paint is sticking now since I put the primer paste on. And I might need 2 coats of this. All right, so let me dry and I'll do 1 more coat of paint. Okay, I'm going to let that continue drying. And now I'm going to paint my mold. And I think I'm going to use khaki. Yeah, I'm going to use this darker green. I was originally going to use the olive and the decor, but I think I'm actually going to go a little bit darker because then I'm going to highlight with some gold and a little bit of snow paste, etc., etc. So I want the layer underneath to be a little bit darker because once I add all the like dry brushing and stuff over the top, it will be quite light, but I do want that detail and stuff to show through. So I'm going to actually start a little bit darker than where I want to end up, if that makes sense. So I always start a little bit darker and then work my way up to lighter. All right, so now I'm just going to take khaki. This is acrylic paint, and I'm going to go ahead and paint my moldings. I'm using just a flat brush. A flat brush with a nice edge, a nice flat edge, so that I can get some of these details along the edge. So I'm going to paint all of my castings in this khaki color. And I think we're going to go until we're finished today, guys. So stick around. Thank you. Thank you. Stick around, y'all. We're going to go. I'm just going to spritz it a little bit so my paint goes on a little bit easier. It just can be a little bit awkward to hold, but again, having that top come off and then being able to put a rod inside is super helpful for holding it. While you're working and not having to touch your work. there's so many different things you could do on the backs of these. You could use velvet powder. You could section them off. You could make some sort of texture. You could do something even as simple as using deluxe paste. I really wanted to use this garland mold because I just love, love, love it. So I really wanted, and I also wanted to create the two-toned look. So I wanted that separation. Again, this is the garland mold from La Blanche that I used around the back. Am I going to resin today? No, I'm not going to resin today. If you watch my demo that I did on resin, it was pretty comprehensive. So I am going to be doing some ornaments with that same technique, but just some different colors and different, I'll show you what I'm going to do. And y'all tell me if you want to do that together next week, or if you want me to do something else. It would really just be a repeat of that long resin demo that I already did, except the pieces will already be casted. Because I took quite a bit of time to show y'all how to use the clear resin. Watch my demo from a couple weeks ago. And we made a full ornament on that episode. Do I have the garden mold? Oh, the garland mold. Yeah, I can show you in just a minute. It's a very versatile mold, and it's coming extremely handy for Christmas time. I've already used, this is my third time using it for Christmas projects. Thank you, Digging for Gifts. Okay. Well, if you have a crafter in your life, some of these craft supplies make amazing gifts. And don't forget, all of the La Blanche molds and all of the Decoupage Queen molds are limited edition. And even though we have plenty in stock right now, it doesn't mean it's going to stay that way forever. So I do recommend getting them while you can, because you just never know. Like if somebody comes out, and it's literally all it takes is one phenomenal project that somebody does, and boom, everybody has to have it, and then it's gone. Happens all the time. And then I have people saying, I wish I would have got it. So all of them are limited edition, La Blanche and Decoupage Queen. All right. And I'm going to spritz again. Okay. The water's just helping me to get it covered a little bit better. Move it around a little bit better, if you will. And I did this double layer here because I just thought it looked cleaner and a little bit more fabulous, I guess. But I am going to finish them the same way. I actually thought last night, I was thinking about whether or not to do the green and the off-white the way it has it here, but I decided not to because that's too much work. But if you're a person that likes a challenge, I think that would be really pretty, is to sort of mimic the colorway in the casting around the paper. If you like that kind of tedious effort, I do not. I do know some people who do, though. My hands start cramping if I hold a small brush for too long. Even when I'm oil painting, I have to take lots of breaks because my hands will start cramping. And once that starts, it's hard. It doesn't go away. Like, so then my hands will hurt for days. So got to take lots of breaks. So it's the same when you're crafting. If you start to feel tired or like you're starting to make mistakes, just take a break and then finish later. If you're hungry, it's not a good time to do long projects if you're hungry. I was talking to Nancy yesterday. I don't know if Nancy, if you're on, but I was talking to her and we were just talking about like how much better our projects turn out when we're not live versus when we are. My projects when I'm not live always turn out so much better, you guys, just because I'm not in a rush and I can space things out, you know, and give them the right amount of time to dry. So a lot of times when you see things, you know, a creator doing something on a live, what I will tell you, even if it's fabulous, just know that it's not their best work because there's so many constraints. And so just, I say that so that you can remember to be kind. Because if somebody, you know, if something just doesn't go quite right on a live, you're seeing it in real time. You're not seeing, you know, what often happens if something doesn't go right is I might scrap it and start over, you know. So yeah, it's more focus and less stress. Calcium. So will calcium help me with fine motor stuff? I do take a daily women's supplement that I think has all that stuff in it. Okay, so I think I've got that pretty well covered. Let me just go around. And then I'm going to do one more coat of, I need to touch up in here because I got a little bit of green. So I'll take my little tiny brush. a little bit of green in here, which I don't want. Okay, just try to sort of fan that out a little bit. Okay. All right. I think I got a little bit down here. All right, and now I need to flip this over and continue with the green on the bottom side. Thank you. Again, the color that I'm using here, this is khaki in the acrylic paint from Pentart. And as you can see, like I pretty much just mix and match my paint. I'm more focused on the color that I need and less on the, more focused on the color, less on the finish or style, if you will. So I mixed, this is acrylic paint and I use chalky paint on the top because I like the off-white chalky paint color. Okay. Okay. Got a section over here. Still got gray showing. Sometimes you got to flip your piece around because it may look covered, but when you move it around, you see that it's not. Believe it or not, it's more my left hand that's hurting right now from holding this little dowel. Okay. All right, there we go. That looks pretty good. And nothing that a little antiquing paste as a finishing technique won't camouflage. One smaller little tiny brush here, and we'll get in some of these little parts right here. Okay. All right, I think that looks pretty good. Got a little bit of white up here to get. All right, and then let's do one more coat of the off-white on the top, and then we'll be ready to fine line crackle. I'm not going to fine line crackle the center image. I'm only going to fine line crackle the back of this ornament because I don't want it to be, I want the fine line crackle to be like background noise I don't want it to be the main attraction. I want this to be the main attraction. And I don't want to cover it up with any fine line circle. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. Let me let's set that down for just a second. Close my tops. Yeah, I've had the like nerve testing done and stuff. And I wear a brace at night. My nerves are okay, so I don't have any nerve damage, but I just have to be super careful to take my breaks and then do my stretches and wear my brace. And then every so often I do have to go get cortisone shots if it doesn't bounce back. So I'm able to manage it, you guys. So I'm not too concerned about over, I've done all the things I'm supposed to, and then I've been assured that that I should continue. So my doctor was like, if you do art and it brings you joy, then you should continue it. So within mindful limitations. Okay. Yeah, I don't have arthritis, so I'm really thankful for that. And it doesn't look like I'm even really prone to it. So, all right. I'm going to dry one more time. That's what I think too. All right. So I'm gonna sand the top a little, just a little bit, because it's a little bit, it's a little chunky. My paint there it's not new, so I've got a little bit more texture on it than I want. So I'm just gonna sand it a little bit. And where's my glossy varnish? I need to do a coat of glossy varnish on it as well. I can find my glossy varnish. So I want to protect it. All right, so I'm just sanding. I've got some little bumps there that I want to smooth out. Just want to soften it a little bit. Normally I'm not this I don't usually sand things, but this part, because it's on the top, it's going to show more so than if it was on the bottom. So just want to make sure all my varnishes and crackle stuff goes on as smooth as possible. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, now let me just take a damp. Thank you, Betty. Well, thank you guys for saying your name. I don't know what the fate of this ornament will be. I'm working on a lot of them, and I'm actually probably going to list them for sale or do some sort of auction. I really want to have, so you guys, I want to have my next auction. I've already decided is actually going to be a fundraiser. And so I was thinking about, I had planned to do one for hurricane relief. That was, but I couldn't ever get myself organized enough to make it happen. Terry was going to help me, and all I had to do was take pictures of my stuff and send them to her, but then I couldn't even get myself organized enough to take the pictures. So we sort of missed, I think I sort of missed the boat on hurricane relief. But I think what I want to do, I think I want to do like some sort of children's organization for Christmas presents. So I want to do my next auction is going to be something like that. And I do want to do it before Christmas, obviously, so that's why I'm doing all these ornaments right now, you guys, is so that I can contribute to something noteworthy and notable, meaningful, I guess, for the holidays. And if I don't find myself with the time to do that, then I will save them for next year. Terry is awesome at selling, you guys. She is so helpful, and she helps me so much. Okay. Well, let's just say it. Terry's awesome at everything she attempts. All right, so now I'm going to get my glossy varnish. This is the Pentart glossy varnish, and I'm just going to go ahead and cover, before I begin any crackle, I'm going to go ahead and put at least one coat of glossy varnish everywhere. And that's going to sort of just seal everything together. This will not be the last coat of varnish that I do. But before I lay down that fine line, particularly over like chalk paint, you should seal it first. You should definitely always, if you're using any kind of transfers, you should also seal with this water-based glossy varnish. And this is what it is. It says it on there, water-based. You should seal before you use fine line over transfers. In fact, I would recommend probably sealing it twice. So now I'm going to seal this painted area. I'm not as worried about the moldings, but I'll go ahead and hit those too. So I don't know how many of you guys, if you guys follow, we have a content creator, Anna Decuart, and ANIA. I can't, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but it's like Carlucci, Lamparska Carlucci or something like that. She's done a fair amount of content for Decoupage Queen. She has an ornament class right now that is a double-sided full-size bauble with like a little snow scene in it. And I'm taking her class. I'll share the link if I get, once I finish the project, I'll share the link for her class. But anyway, super amazing, talented artist. And I watched the first video and I'm just like, oh yeah, that looks like really cool techniques. So brush on varnish. Yes, definitely brush on varnish is a good idea. So this is just one coat of glossy varnish. I'm covering the whole thing and I'm going to dry it. I'm using medium heat. You want this really good and dry before you do the fine line step. So it's pretty sticky. Ideally, this would just dry overnight, you guys. It may be better if we do let it dry overnight.
I use Cyberlink.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to take a little bit of off-white and I'm going to dry brush some of my areas here. So I'm just going to take, and I'm going to just dry brush a little bit of this just to tone. And my varnish is really still too wet, but I just want to tone some of this back. See what I mean by how the green will sort of lose, it will get lighter as we begin to add more stuff to it. That's what we're doing here. And it'll, if that varnish was completely dry, it would be easier to work with. I just don't like, it's getting so hot and I wanted to take a break from the heat. So got to do something else for a minute. All right, so let me dry it a little bit more. And I'll probably do that again, you guys, once it's completely dry. And I'm definitely going to use some gold wax on there. Old-fashioned sugar Easter eggs. All right. All right, so what I need to do now, I'm going to go get a cup because I'm going to stand this up in a cup and work with it that way. So let me go grab a some sort of cup and I'll be right back. Okay, I got a coffee cup and we are going to let that rest in there. And it wants to flip this way. I want it this way. Okay. So I'm going to dry a little bit more and then we're going to start the fine line. You want this to be really, really dry before doing any fine line. Remember, when it comes to fine line, some of the fundamentals are to make sure that you have a dry, completely dry surface and that you are using dry brushes for both steps 1 and step 1 and step 2. You need to use dry brushes for both steps. So do not use the same brush. And don't use brushes that you just clean. They need to be completely dry. We are going to start with step 1. I actually ran out of fine line, so I'm opening a new pack. I'm going to start with step 1. And brush, piece of styrofoam, yeah. All right. So step 1 is going to go all over the bottom part along with the painted part up top. I'm not putting it on the molds and I'm not putting it on my center image because I don't want it to be the star. It is a background element for this particular. There are times when maybe you want the fine line to do more. And maybe you want the fine line on the center image and not everywhere else. But in this particular case, we're going to do it the opposite. So normally, if I weren't live, I would just do step 1 and I would walk away and I would wait. But since we're live, we're going to force it dry. Okay. So I think I got it everywhere. Looks pretty even. All right. Most important thing here is to make sure that you have dry brushes. All right, and we're going to go ahead and dry. I'm using medium heat and I'm holding it a pretty good distance away. I'll actually probably set this down on the table. I don't want to melt my plastic. So it's going to take a little bit longer to dry than if it was another surface. So you guys, I want to just talk about this for a minute. You know, those of you who attend auctions or buy handmade things, as a creator, you know, I think it's important for creators to price their items basically in accordance with the amount of work that they put into it. And unfortunately, a lot of times what happens is people get sticker shock. But you can see the amount of time and effort and care that is going into a handmade item versus a commercially produced item. So I say that for the benefit of all of you who create, to make sure that you're selling, you know, pricing your items relative to the amount of time that you're spending. And, you know, you should always start a little bit high. Then if you need to go lower, then go a little bit lower. But also for you, those of you who are buying from creators this year, you know, please don't get sticker shock. Most of us do this because we love it. We're not actually making, you know, most of the creators I know are not making hand over, you know, they're making enough to support their passion, right? So anyway, there's just so much that goes into a handmade piece. And so much behind the scenes that you don't see. Like, for example, even before today's live, I probably spent a good 2 hours before the live working out the details of what I want to do, doing the prep work, gluing the stuff. Exactly. So I'm actually holding my heat gun about 18, 20 inches away because this is plastic. I don't want to get the surface of this thing too hot. Otherwise, I will start to melt and warp my plastic. And I don't want to burn my project. That's right. It is actual artwork. There is artistry. And people kind of, you know, like some people say like it's just decoupage. Well, obviously, there's a lot more to this than just decoupage, right? So my point in doing this series is to kind of show you, you know, now that you know the basics, how would you combine some things to make some really cool projects? Like what would you, what techniques can you use to achieve a certain effect, etc. All right, I'm just going to let this cool for a minute. And then I'll continue drying. We still have a fair amount to go. In terms of how I'm going to finish this molding, well, of course, we'll use some gold wax. We may do a little bit more dry brushing before we get to the gold wax, but I'm also probably going to add a little bit of snow paste as well. Oh, I know, the price of the supplies. I know. So yeah, I mean, so if you see something that you really love and you want to support that person, you know, just go ahead and do it. And these make beautiful heirloom, timeless gifts. You know, my husband laughs a little bit because he's like, but it's just plastic. And I'm like, well, yeah, but what else am I, you know, like it's plastic because it's the surface. It's the surface curve that I need, you know. So I want all my white to disappear. I'm getting there. I've got a couple little spots here and there. Again, ideally, I would set it down and walk away. The most important thing is for step one and all the layers underneath to be completely dry. All right, and that's getting there. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and do some gold wax. I want to do some gold wax. Whew, it's hot. Gold wax. Oh, you know what? I put one in my purse. Go grab it, put it in my purse. My gold wax was almost done, so I decided to get a new one. And I'll go ahead and I'm going to do the gold wax on the moldings, you guys, while we're letting this dry some more. So we'll put that on the castings. Oops, I didn't mean to get it on the part. Just to kill a little time before we add step 2. Somebody wanted to see this garland mold too, I think, right? Let me show you that one. Okay. This one. This is the garland mold from LeBlanc. Okay, now let's go to step 2. And then we'll be, once we get step 2 crackled and stuff, we'll be done for the day. I'm not going to seal it because I want to let it sort of breathe overnight. And then I'm going to seal it tomorrow with the solvent-based sealer, you guys. And I'm going to do that outside. All right, so let's go. Step 2, I'm going to use a smaller brush for step 2. Actually, I'm going to start with the bigger brush and then go to the smaller brush. All right, step 2. We're going to put step 2 everywhere. Again, this is a fresh, clean, dry brush. I have not used this brush today. The last time it was cleaned was some time ago, and so it's fully dry. You do not want any water to be introduced into your fine line process at all. The thicker you apply it, the more wider spaced your cracks will be. You will actually achieve the best cracks if you apply this and walk away. That will give you the most beautiful cracks. You can speed dry like I'm going to do on a live, but I don't recommend it because your cracks will actually be prettier if you don't force them. So a lot of times when you force them dry, they tend to be a little bit uneven and irregular, I guess. It doesn't look as natural, I will say. I'm just getting some spots that I couldn't reach with that bigger brush. But just for the sake of demonstration, we will do what we must do. I think I got it everywhere. Again, I'm not doing that thinner image. Your name does not appear now to the person who just asked. Okay. Next roll of fine line. Don't touch it. Do not touch it. Just walk away. Because any fingerprints will get left behind. So the goal of fine line is sort of to make it look like broken ceramic or porcelain. So we always recommend to use a glossy finish. So you have to use a solvent-based sealer. And what the solvent-based sealer will do is it will stop the chemical reaction from occurring. I can add glitter, snow paste, ice paste. I can add all of that once it's sealed. And I may, but what's going to happen is when I put that umber antiquing paste, it's going to really look very vintage. It's not going to be so clean. That's how it looks right now. And then you can go in and add you can add things like that to the top. I have a little section here that's dripping. So I want to try to remedy that if I can. I have a couple little runs and drips. I put it on pretty thick up top. I was gonna say, so basically with the fine line on its own also is not water resistant. So you need that solvent-based sealer, because if you try to use a water-based sealer, the water is just going to penetrate and it will make your fine line very gummy. So the solvent-based sealer doesn't have any water in it. Finally, yes, Aspects, I can see you. Tina, yes, I can see you. I can see your name. So you can't add any other further embellishments that contain any water, like snow paste, ice paste, anything, until your fine line is sealed. Wax paste is okay, but that's why we don't use like a water-based glaze. We only use like solvent-based or wax-based antique paste. And theoretically, my friends at Pentart told me that theoretically, if you put fine line on and you decide you don't like it, or you don't get enough cracks or something, they said theoretically that you should be able to take some water and spray the piece and then wipe the fine line away before it's sealed. I'm like, really? That sort of blew my mind. I haven't tried that, but I think that's interesting. All right, we'll take a break again. It's funny because I'm the opposite. I don't have any luck with mica powder, only antique paste. So I don't actually even recommend, like I personally don't recommend, like when I try to demo it with mica powder, it doesn't work for me. All right, so I'm just gonna let that cool for a minute. All right. I'm starting to see some cracks. Let me stop for a moment. That's dry. So we should have some cracks here. I see them. All right. So we do have some cracks. They're hard to see with the naked eye until you get the paste or product on there. I'm going to get a brush that I don't care about and some antique paste. I'm going to begin. This is the one I'm going to use. This is the Umber. We have problems keeping this in stock, so I recommend if you want it and you need it and you see it, get it, because there's no telling how long it will remain in stock. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. I'm seeing some cracks. Beautiful, beautiful. So these actually have come out really nice, you guys. So see if I can hold this up a little bit more. So again, my cracks would be a lot more evenly distributed, I guess, had I let this dry on its own. They're sort of randomly showing up. So what I'll do again, I'm not going to seal it right away. I'm actually going to let this sort of continue doing its thing overnight. And then tomorrow, if I come back and apply a little bit more heat tomorrow, I may find some cracks in areas that were missed today. See, like here, you have a crack that started, but it hasn't fully developed all the way over. So until you put that sealer on, your cracking can theoretically continue. So don't feel like what you get is what you get necessarily. You can keep kind of playing with it. But I really like that effect. So when that glossy sealer goes on, it's just going to look so beautiful, like broken porcelain. And then up here, of course, my background is, I'm just dealing with a white surface. So the cracks are going to be a lot more visible up here. See, and that's why I was saying I probably won't need any snow paste or glitter, because the effect is going to be it's just a very vintage porcelain effect. So you don't ever want to use a baby wipe because of that same principle of the water that we talked about already. The baby wipe is going to break down the crackle because it has moisture and water in it. So when you're wiping it away, you either want to use just a plain dry cloth, or you can dip it in a little bit of like turpentine. If you want it to look a little bit cleaner. But overall, I would say I am pretty happy with this. I'm going to take a tiny little bit of antiquing and go around my edges here, just to sort. I'm not going to antique the whole image, but I am going to antique it sort of around the edges, just to give it a little bit of framing. Okay. Now, let's get our gold wax back out. Right. Let's get our gold wax back out. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you, Anna. Station and wipe. Sealer is solvent-based. This is antique paste, Pentart Umber antique paste. All right, so now that we have a little bit of antique paste on there, the gold is doing its magic to really brighten things up again. I'm going to do that one more time, all the way around. Okay, and then I'll put a little bit of snow paste. I can put a little bit of snow paste inside. Again, this is ready to be varnished probably tomorrow with the solvent-based varnish. I'll show it to you in just a moment. but I'm not going to do it today. I want to let this sort of breathe and continue to dry. And then we will put a beautiful little bow on it. So I'm not going to set it down on anything. We will put a beautiful little bow on it. Let me show you what the solvent-based varnish looks like. And then we will call it done.
I'll get myself some more ornaments.
Yeah, if you can find my phone.
Okay.
If we can call it done for today. I may not have it, but if one of my retailers, if one of y'all has a link, you can share your link for the solvent-based varnish. I don't have it handy. I gotta hunt it down, so I'm not sure where my varnish is at the moment, but I do have some. So anyway, if one of my retailers can share the link, I am gonna actually varnish this also one more time with the glossy. But you guys, that was it, my 2-hour demo. Thank you guys so much for being here. Next week we'll do some more ornaments, but I think this about wraps it up for today. Thank you guys so much. Let me know if you have any questions at all, and I will see you next week. All right, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.